Hello and welcome to my Stamina Nightblade PvP build. This is more like a brawler style, so it's with 2H and Sword and Board and Dark Cloak, so you won't be invisible. You're more like someone who can hold like 2 or 3 people and still put out decent amount of damage. Quick look into the character screen. I'm Imperial on my Nightblade. You get 2k health, you get some stamina, so here I prefer Imperial also for the cost reduction, because it just feels like I really need it instead of Orc for the pure amount of damage, so Imperial here is the choice I want to go. I have 20 points in health and 44 into stamina. We do want to push health a bit, of course we're using Dark Cloak and the healing of Dark Cloak scales of our max HP. This health gets higher to 35k because we are using Death Dealer's Feet, so this will be higher than it shows here. Our monsters, we are using the Shadow one. Nightblade really performs good on a crit build, so we want to push our crit damage really high. As you can already see, we are at 40% weapon critical already without any further buffs, and this goes up to 50%, and with Shadow we have an insane amount of critical damage. Buffwood is also a Smoke Beer Haunch. We need the Magicka, we need the Stamina Sustain, and also the health. So yeah, also a Smoke Beer Haunch, just the number one to go. And we are obviously stage 3 Vampire, cause it's still not nerfed and super broken. So we are using stage 3 Vampire for the Undeath passive, which makes us more tanky the lower health we are. Potions, we are using just normal tri-stat potions. We need the Magicka and the Stamina. You can of course use Heroism pots. I'm gonna show you those, which will give Magicka, Stamina and minor Heroism. Gives you faster ult and even more ult. And so as you can see, we are also using Barlock here. So the more ult we generate, the harder our ult gonna hit with Barlock. So if you're rich, you can go with those. Otherwise, just normal tripods are also fine. Backbar, the usual escapist poison, 4.4 seconds of CC immunity when it procs, and the target where it procs on also gets immobilized. Monster set, as I mentioned, Barlock 2 times in medium. In Divines, we want to push our Mundus, which is the Shadow, as hard as we can. So using here Divines, 2 times medium with Prismatic Enchant. The usual one-piece trainee, heavy reinforced chest, also in with the Prismatic Enchant. And on our back bar we are running Rallying Cry, one of the most broken sets currently, gives you so much defensive, and the crit resist you get from this set completely balance out that you actually go for 6 Divines on your armor. So we have a Divine Sash, Prismatic Enchant, we have 2 times Jewelry infused with weapon damage, and a Sturdy Shield and a Defending Sword on our back bar. So Rallying Cry, in case you didn't know, when you critical heal yourself, you gain 300 weapon and spell damage and 1650 critical resistance for 20 seconds, and it can proc every 15 seconds. So the uptime is basically 100%, and the buff gets reduced the more people you have in your group, but even if you're 5 people in group, Rallying Cry is still good. Even when you're 12 people, Rallying Cry is good, because maybe not for the weapon spell damage, but for the crit resist. Yeah, our front boss set is Order's Wrath. That's one of the new sets coming with higher ire, so you get a lot of critical chance, you get 1 part of weapon and spell damage, and the 5-piece increases your critical damage and critical healing by 8%. And it's also Battle Axe. Battle Axe gives 12% increased crit damage, and with the 8% from Order's Wrath, we're already at 20%. 5 medium armor is another 10%. I think Nightblade in general also gets some more crit damage. It's maybe 10%, I don't remember. But in general, our crit damage we have on our front bar is 106%. Here only is 56%, but usually if you're at base crit damage, there's a 0, which will be 50% increased damage. Like every crit you do will hit 50% harder than a normal attack. This will be usually 0% here, and with all the crit damage multipliers we have, it's 56%. So every crit we do is actually hitting 106% harder. Yeah, sharpened battle axe. Then we have 3 times armor, medium, and Divine's prismatic enchant, the boots, the legs, and the hands. And the mythic we are using is Death Dealer's Feet, increasing our base stats, which is health, stamina, and magicka, by I think it's close to 3k. I will just now put a screen of the fully buffed stats so you can take a look how much health we get, how much weapon damage we get, and also the stamina and magicka recovery. Yeah. Coming to the skills, on front bar we are using surprise attack as our main spammable, also applying the Sundered status effect, which will Sundered will apply some small damage, and you also apply minor breach, which is 3k penetration, and when we attack someone from the flank, we set them off balance or even stun them. Executioner. This is more like a personal preference. Usually on Nightblade you don't really rely on Executioner. You can just spam surprise attack, and if you want drop execute for another skill you want to use, you can use the, I don't know when, where it is. Oh yeah, here's the teleporting strike. Also applies minor vulnerability, increasing damage taken by 5%, but that's up to you what you actually prefer here. I just use Executioner because I'm really used to on other classes. Then we have Merciless Resolve. That is a magicka move because it deals more damage than the stamina move, so Merciless is way better. Camouflaged Hunter we have here for the crit buff. We can't use crit potions because otherwise we will either lack magicka sustain or stamina sustain, so we need Camo Hunter for the major savagery. And also we gain minor berserk when we critting from the flank, and with Nightblade usually it's all about flanking because that's where you get the most damage. So Camo Hunter here, also increasing your weapon damage by 3%. Then we have Forward Momentum, our snap removal on also sort of major brutality, and minor endurance for some more stamina recovery. Incap, that's our burst ult. Also when we incap someone, they take 20% more damage from us for 6 seconds, so usually you want to incap and then shoot the bow. If you're fighting someone with the brain, he will usually break free the stun and dodge roll, so your Merciless will always miss. Usually what I do is I incap them, wait for the dodge roll to end, then you fire the bow, and usually that will hit them. So just yeah, just keep that in mind. Usually people roll it, otherwise, or you face some, I don't know, someone with only one hand. Well, also slotted, this is kind of nice. We get some kind of reef buff, so every light attack we do restores 100 magicka and stamina. So this is now some nice sustain. Backbar we are using Leeching Strikes. This will heal us on every light and heavy attack. Also restore stamina when we light and heavy attack. Also at the end you get like a big chunk of stamina back, but you can also recast it always through the whole duration and only get a proportion of the stamina return, kind of like Rally. Then we have Mirage for the major evasion, 20% less AoE damage taken. Also get minor resolve, increasing our spell and physical resist by 3k. Healthy Offering, this is our burst here. Costs Magicka and also drains a little bit of health, but this is completely yeah, you don't feel it. It's maybe like a 200 damage over time. It instantly gets out healed by your running Vigor or Cloak. So Healthy Offering as the burst heal. Also, when we use it, we get Minor Mending, increasing our healing down even further by 8%. It's a great skill. You can also heal allies with it. Really great. Resolving Vigor, the healing over time. And Dark Cloak, also another healing over time, proccing minor protection for 12 seconds and proccing our armor buff. I think it's somewhere here. Yeah, casting a shadow ability increases grants of major resolve, increases the or spell and physical resist by 6k. You increase the duration the more heavy armor pieces you have. We have only one, so the duration of our armor buff actually is only 7.5. So you want to cast it quite often to get surprised without having your armor buff on. Backbar, also Spell Wall as our defensive ult. Can be either Spell Wall, can also be Soul Siphon for some AoE burst heal and also some healing over time, and also your allies get healed. So maybe use this in group, and Spell Wall for solo. Yeah, coming to our champion points, green ones really quick, Gifted Rider, Warmount, Rationer, Steed's Blessing. Blue ones are here, Ironclad for 6% damage mitigation, just great. Everything that is direct damage gets reduced by 6%. Focus Mending, 10% more healing. It actually affects all of our healing, which is Dark Cloak, Vigor, and Healthy Offering. Then we have Deadly Aim, increasing all of our single target damage by 6%. Every damage of us is single target, so Deadly Aim for a persistent 6% is really great. Mastered Arms, also all of our damage is direct damage, so we take Mastered Arms. If you want to play around, you can obviously go with Backstabber, increasing the damage against people you are flanking by 10%, or increasing your crit damage by 8% with Fighting Venus. You can even try to utilize Exploiter, which will increase your damage by 10% against people who are off balance. But I think Exploiter on Stamina Nightblade is a bit inconsistent, because sometimes with the positioning between your client and the server is kind of bugged, and people not always get off balance when you actually want them to get off balance. So I'd rather go with a safer way of Deadly Aim and Mastered Arms. But that's up to you. You can play around however you like. Then we have the red ones, Pan's Refuge, just a no-brainer, Sustained by Suffering as well, Survival Instincts, and Fortified. Fortified is another flex spot here. I just prefer the constant armor uptime, but you can use Juggernaut, which will give 5% less damage when you're immune to crowd control. You can increase your movement speed even further by 10% with the Celerity, or get minor protection after you got stunned on field, or major protection. Up to you what you personally prefer in that case. So that's about the build. Obviously Stamina Nightblade as a brawler build is not strong, but for me it's just fun to play it more like some kind of Dark Knight playstyle. Yeah, let me know what you think about the build. Try it. It's not super expensive to build, and it's really fun to play.